Hey there! Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCG Fam Show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? Let me know in the comments. We'll talk about it after the show. But right now, let's just get into the show. I want to talk a little bit about alkalinity. Well, actually, Scott does. In the video I'm going to show you, it's kind of a long one, and it's a little, I wouldn't say rambling, but what it's about is people that have alkalinity issues. We've talked about this in the past, but what about when you have alkalinity issues that are particularly difficult and don't take easily to the solution of just throwing some chimera or some of that sort of thing? How do you work with that? And most people, very few people have this situation, but if you do, I think this video will be very valuable for you to watch, helping with that. But if you don't, it might be interesting just to see how Scott kind of works through this in his head. So I'd like you to watch the clip. I'll talk to you after. 520 ppm alkalinity here before RO. So RO is a must, but on the other hand, straight RO water is a horrible choice for any container Nectar gardener to make. We have been balancing medium pH by adding back in the calcium. We do that here by adding back tap water that has been filtered only through carbon to 100 to 120 ppm of alkalinity and 60 to 80 ppm of magnesium via Epsoms, but have found with the acidic nature of nectar acids 120 to 120 kppm alkalinity still isn't enough to balance the acids through bloom. We are currently using chimera to make up the balance there, adding 6 cups throughout bloom to 20-gallon pots to get medium's pH to balance through bloom. We aim for 6.5 to 6.9 on slurry pH tests. Anything below 6.4 and uptake dramatically decreases and EC begins to stack instead of to be consumed. One question remains: are we better to balance our water or our soil mix by adding calcium to the medium? Perhaps it is all the same. Love the show, love the product. Hope all is well with the Nectar family. Happy 420 Plantheads. That sounds like pig.
Kinda, except it's just weird. Yeah, well, I mean,
yeah. What do you make of the question?
It's a great question, because I do have a few farms out there that are finding that the alkalinity boosters are great, the chargers are great, some people have too much, or whatever. It's such a balancing act when it comes to pH, alkalinity, water source, and how nectar works in these gardens. I personally like the chimera for people who are constantly struggling with lower pH issues, and the reasons because it doesn't spike your pH up above 7.4 and holds it there. It literally brings it into a range, and then the limestone in it slowly breaks down as your inadequate water, or your water that is less than perfect on alkalinity or acidity. That water continues to keep that chimera broken down and available to the plants. I mean, 6 cups per 20 is probably excessive, but like he said, they'd like to be at 6.5 to 6.9 in the slurry test.
Yeah.
So most people are about 6.4 to 6.6 in the so that's usually about 1 cup per 10, 2 cups per 20 gallons.
Is this a question of taking straight dead RO water, putting chimera in it, and knowing what you're at, or trying to balance act this whole thing?
Well, he's balancing that because they're using half RO water and half their tap water that has 500 parts per million.
If you can figure that out, that's a better solution, right?
It is, except for there's still something about the microbial field wanting this limestone and this calcium carbonate and the things that... The other thing with chimera is that there's that porcine that's highly soluble. Yeah. You've got the minerals in there. You got a little bit of magnesium in there, so you're getting way more of a broad spectrum alkalinity punch with more food behind it that will actually set the flowering cycle faster, create a bigger blooms.
If you just punt and go to RO, or if you try to balance it. So if
you're trying to balance it, you're not getting the chimera piece.
So if you had this,
getting the excess.
If you had this whole fuckity fuck, you might just go to RO, do your chimera, and not worry about it and know where you stand.
I'd still do half and half, because there is still a huge benefit of having naturally occurring hydrolyzed limestone in your water source.
So there is...
But he has so much that it would literally create a pH nightmare in his soil.
Why don't you just go 25-75 then? I mean,
because again, a Chimera has the pork, the minerals, the magnesium, and the calcium, where alkalinity is calcium limestone or carbonate and RO water. And so you're not getting the diversity of the nutrition and the elements that Chimera is giving him. And I think if you just went to that, they would find that their yield would probably get hurt a little bit if they went to just the balanced RO water with the balanced alkalinity water, because they're not adding in this Chimera limestone punch.
So would you keep messing with your mixture, or would you back off the natural water and then sneak up on it that way, or both? What's the solution? What's the solution here? We don't know, but what is the process here?
It's the grower, again, because a lot of guys will just go for the water alkalinity and never have pH issues and do just fine and happy. But then guys like Pig, who push the Chimera, work with... Because right now, if he just tries to balance the water, that water can change every month because of drought or rain or table water or the well depth or whatever. There's 1,000 reasons why water changes. Chimera is a stable... it's a... what do you call it? I mean, it's a staple to the nutrition. It's a standard that you can set in there, and then your water becomes more of the variable to mess with that Chimera to make that more available. So if you want that Chimera to be more available, you lower the pH of your feed water down a little bit, so the acids in your feed water will release Chimera quicker and make that more available. Yeah, I mean...
This is another one we need to talk about.
Well, I mean, yeah. It's the downfall is that so many people are listening to this right now.
Yeah, that don't have fucked up water, or
and they're going to go chase. So my fear with talking too hard on it is that you get people chasing the proverbial problem that doesn't exist, and now they make a problem because they. Yeah, most people don't have 500 parts per million of alkalinity in their water.
This is a vanishingly small problem we're talking about here.
It's a very regional problem. Okay. And that can change.
Okay, what do you think? Informative? Entertaining? Helpful? Agree? Disagree? Questions? Throw them in the comments. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. The OCG Fam Show. It's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the CG Fam Show. See you tomorrow.